All right, Josh. It's part of it's time for everyone's favorite part of the show,
I don't know about that.
the lore corner.
Lore Corner. Lore Corner is actually going to be short, sweet, and to the point this week. I frankly thought for this topic there was a lot more to discuss, and it turns out the game pretty much spoon feeds it to you. So this week we are talking about Eris Morn and what exactly was she doing between the events of the end of Destiny 1 and when we meet back up with her in Shadowkeep. Eris leaves the tower, makes plans to leave the tower during the Age of Triumph in Destiny 1. The event that concluded Destiny 1 and canonically was being celebrated when the tower was attacked during the festival day. And just before she left, she visited her friend Asher Mir, who you might know as the crazy, insane Uncle Rick-looking guy from IO. And he had recently been hospitalized and was comatose due to his encounter with the Genesis Mine in the Pyramidion. She imparted a warning to the Vanguard that a storm was coming. This has become widely believed in the community to be referring to the events of the tower falling, the Traveler being taken, etc. But we don't actually know for sure. That is one interpretation. Another interpretation is that when the storm is coming, maybe she was referring cryptically to the darkness coming back, and not necessarily to Gaul. Whether or not that is what happened, we don't honestly know. That's from a lore card that actually was one of the last Grimoire cards released from Destiny 1 during the actual Age of Triumph. And then Eris kind of goes dark for a couple of years. We get messages during Forsaken that we believe are from Eris, but we come to find out are really being sent to us by Quira, the Vex Mind, and Savathun. Like, even Ikora gets her spies, the Hidden, of which Eris is technically one of. They get in touch with Eris, and she hears from Eris's own lips, I'm not sending those messages, somebody is impersonating me. We have determined that that's Savathun. We get those messages, the letters from Eris, every couple of weeks in the in the city. And she just kind of during her travels, she encountered a throne world that was in the Ascendant Plane that belongs to it being aligned with the light. We don't really know much beyond that. It's been speculated that maybe she came across Marasav's new throne world, or perhaps she came across a throne world that we've unknowingly created, but we've never had to actually access due to us killing Crota and killing Oryx, slaying Atheon, slaying all these beings of immense power. At some point following the death of Cade 6, she journeyed back to the moon in her search for answers. And she came in contact with the pyramid. She unknowingly unleashed the Nightmare Curse upon the system. At that point, of course, the events of Shadowkeep take place. She imparts us to investigate the pyramid by any means necessary. Ikora asks us to kind of keep an eye on her, make sure that she's there. She's being tormented by these phantoms, which, of course, we will later find out, some of which are the ghosts of her fallen fire team members. And over the course of the campaign, we eventually do enter the pyramid, of course, and we obtain a spherical object that we then give to her. This will come into play in just a few minutes, but we help her cleanse her memories of her fallen fire team members by gathering artifacts relating to each of them. Of course, we craft the xenophage with her, with Omaraga in bug form, powering the weapon. She would set us out on the path of wiping out the Vex during the Vex offensive on the moon, and would warn us to be cautious and wary of any more messages from the darkness while she continues to study the sphere that we recovered from the pyramid. She later entered the pyramid herself and touched an altar in there, a hooded altar, and became overpowered by an element of the darkness. And she smiled to herself. Now, we don't know if Eris was possessed or anything like that. That was the common thought when we first saw that cutscene is, crap, Eris has been possessed. And a lot of things that happen in some of these lore pieces leading up to subsequent seasons would indicate that darkness was trying to do the same thing to Osiris, was trying to do the same thing to Anna Bray. What is actually happening here? It is now pretty widely believed that that is the first image that we saw of Stasis. She doesn't have her light powers anymore because her ghost is dead, but She now has powers from the darkness, and this is why she's seeking to understand it a bit more. Currently, right now, Eris is residing in the cradle on Io, attempting to commune with the darkness and helping us and imparting us to fight back against the forces of Savathun with the Drifter. And that is your short, sweet, and to the point lore corner this week. Eris Morn and what she's been doing. Not a whole lot.
Yeah, apparently. Eris is a... Look, man, ever since Eris came into the picture, right, with the three acolyte eyes in her face just shoved in there, just like, whoa, somebody's
she's pretty hardcore, man.
Yeah. Hardcore is the word I would use, yes.
But yeah, there's just Eris is such a fascinating character, but we know a lot of her history before she met us, rather than what she's actually doing now. She's like Mara; she's doing a lot behind the scenes, and I expect a big ol' light to get shown on both of them, as well as the Drifter and on the Stranger, etc. in Beyond Light. I think Beyond Light is kind of our like Avengers Assemble moment, really, for the franchise, where we have to kind of decide: do we want the light or do we want the dark?
Yeah.
Or is there a way to toe the line? Shin Malphur seems to believe there's a way to toe the line for our Guardian in particular, for the young wolf. So we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, I still watch that trailer from time to time, the reveal trailer or the.
So it's so great. Like their cinematic trailers have always been fantastic.
Oh my gosh, they're so good. I've actually watched quite a few of them recently. That one, remember when they were doing the live action stuff for a minute? With like in Destiny 1.
I do. I was never a massive fan of it. I thought it was cool, like it was a get hype thing, but I prefer these CG trailers, quite frankly.
Yeah.
I love this one. The one for Forsaken, of course, which ended up being one of the opening cutscenes, the death of Cade 6. We actually saw completely in cutscene form ahead of time.
Yeah.
I strongly suspect that this cutscene or this trailer that we got is actually going to be one of the opening scenes of Beyond Light.
Yeah.
So, except I could see like our Guardian totally being there too.
Yeah.
So, but we have two more big pieces to get through in our kind of series dealing with the Hive, the Awoken, etc. Before we move into some miscellaneous topics before the end of the season. Now that we've gotten to expand everything, the next few weeks we're gonna tackle Nokris, we're gonna tackle Zivorath, and of course we're gonna deal with the big bad herself, Savathun, the Witch Queen herself. We are going to talk about her at length here in a few weeks, probably towards the end of the solstice. We're going to talk about her. That one is going to be one that is going to require a very deep dive and will require us telling the story of not only Savathun and the Orsinium Court, aka the triumvirative between herself, Oryx the Taken King, and Zivorath, but also a dive into what exactly is the sword logic that we keep bringing up. And why is it so important to our understanding, ultimately, of the darkness?
Yes,
Destiny?
I'm excited for that because the sword logic is something that you always hear about, like especially when you're on the moon, kind of going down into the, the Hellmouth and all this other stuff, and you kind of understand it, but I think a lot of people would feel way better if they actually knew what was happening with the sword logic.
It's something that now, with us getting more and more into the darkness, and clearly that they are setting up things for over a year away from now. Like, I did not expect Savathun to be front and center in the season like she is right now. I expected her to be dealing with the pyramids. I didn't think she would be so intertwined with the seasonal lore and with the going-ons of the events. But she's kind of been pulling strings for a couple of years now, so it makes sense she's coming to the forefront. They're clearly building up to her in a way that I think, in retrospect, they would have liked to have done with Oryx.
Yeah.
Or even Gaul. So I really appreciate that. I really like the care that they're taking with this story. But ultimately, to understand her motives and to understand what's going on, we have to understand two core things, and that's the history of the Orsinium Court and the sword logic. That may actually have to be split across 2 weeks, frankly. So we'll wait and see. But everybody, please look forward to that. Get any and all questions you have about Savathun, the sword logic, the Ascendant Realm.
Yes, you can email
all of that in, please.
Yes, you can email your questions to towercasuals@gmail.com or tweet at towercasuals. We'll be taking any and all questions that you might have about the sword logic. So
So
or
that's
any,
all I've got for
any
Lore
Destiny
Corner this
subject.
week. Yeah, for any lore related questions, lore questions, loadouts, etc. Send those questions in. We want to answer them.
We do have some questions stored away for a rainy day too. So